Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend, and I'm back. It's Sunday. I'm early. I'm not sure anyone's going to show up because my normal time is 4. And I have a bit of conflict of time today, so I can't do the afternoon reading. Um, but yeah, so I think I'll start out with while I'm waiting for everybody. For anybody who doesn't know me, if you come across my stuff, I've been doing readings professionally for 17 years. I was a nurse before doing this professionally. In fact, there was some overlap. Um, I Let's talk about something I saw today that we talk about the world, and there's a lot of scary things getting posted out there. The rapture's not happening. I'm so sorry. Hi, Sachin. How are you? I'm not. So here's the thing about astrology. I know a little bit about it, but just the biggest, littlest, tiniest thing. In fact, I normally go live later, but I want to watch my friend's. She's an astrologer and has been doing it professionally for a while, and so she has a group that I subscribe to. Hi, Ishika, and so I want to watch it and find out about what she says about what her insight is and take is on the solar eclipse and how it's affecting us. But I think something I find interesting is every time we talk about Pluto in Aquarius. So I do psychic medium readings. When I do private readings, it's all straight. I just connect with your energy and give you everything that I get. You can ask questions. I can do mediumship. I can do medical mediumship. Here, what I like to do is people pay for a reading. It's $12 a question, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And that's because every dollar provides 3 meals, and food scarcity is real. But if you stay to the end, or if you don't have the money for the reading, I'll pull oracle cards, and everybody gets a free oracle card reading. That's my way of trying to like help out the people who can't afford it. But what I was saying about the astrology stuff is I do find it interesting that like the idea of Pluto and Aquarius, I from what I gather and understand, is that, people are looking for more authenticity and sort of this idea of like just always falling into line and doing what people want us to do and is falling away. And I came across a post where a woman was like, well, you can't cancel Kristen Chenoweth for what she said and also cancel Disney for just like this kind of backwards thinking. And I was like, well, actually. So, but yeah, I mean, I think for everybody worldwide, there's a lot happening. And I think that's just indicative of the times, right? That we knew, if you look at astrology, you know that there are big changes when Pluto makes transits into new houses. So, and then there's all the other planets and things too. So, yeah, but I've been doing readings professionally for 17 years, and I thank you for the likes. And these are new names here, so it's nice to meet you. If you have any other questions about what I do, or if you just want to ask general questions about the world, I'll do those for free because I feel like that's beneficial to everybody. Or if you want to ask, like, I don't know, developing your own intuition or questions about something that's happened to you on a spiritual level, what my insights are on that, I'll answer that because I think that's also beneficial to everybody. The paid ones are really just about your own personal journey. But the reason why I do it that way is because, I don't know, I think there should be an energy exchange. I was used to do these for free, and people got kind of mean. And I think that doesn't help anybody. So, Miss Regine, how are you, dear? You like the new time? I'm thinking I might do this permanently because I found that more people showed up the last time I did it this time, but I didn't give anybody enough warning. So I recognize that. I didn't do it this time before because my kids had ice skating at this time, but we can move that around. We can be a little more flexible with that now. And today I want to go to my friend's astrology thing. So I was just telling others that if they want to ask any questions about general, like what's going on in the world, here's why I don't. There's other readers who will be like, this is what I channeled. I always feel like if somebody else asks the question, I'm sort of removed from it, but if I ask it, I always feel like there's a weird like block to it. So I always like if somebody else asks the question about what's going on in the world, I feel like I get a more clear connection. And I don't know why I work that way, but that's the way I work. Um, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions? Are we just going to sit here? If you guys want to do card readings and just call it a day, I'm fine with that too. I know this is a weird time, so a lot of my regulars aren't here. Anyone? I feel like I'm talking to myself. Kind of am. Oh, you sent for a payment earlier? I don't know why I didn't. Oh, I literally just got it. Okay. I didn't see it, I think, because I was probably trying to set up stuff and then make myself look presentable instead of just woken up. I'm not just woken up, but okay. What's your question, Regine? Unfortunately, no, this is the only payment method I have right now. What works for you? I'm sort of trying to gather and figure out. I do all my own accounting, sort of books, etc. So I try to minimize the amount of places I have to remember to go to check, especially if somebody doesn't use it that often. I always look nice. Thank you. PayPal doesn't work there. So what works there? That's not a psychic question. I feel like you need to ask a different one, but I'll answer that one anyway. Regine, she said, can my guides, so wait, can your guides guide you when you're doing the reading? Yeah. Is that what you mean? Can they walk you through the reading? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of who's doing the readings, really. I mean, it's like you're basically a translator for the information that comes through when you're doing readings. Hang on. Sorry, my thing wasn't all the way over, so I was missing something. You can't, you should be able to use your card on PayPal. I had a client try to Venmo me without asking me, and I was like, yeah, I don't have a business Venmo, so you can't. It's not going to work. So Sharon, that kind of question when I'm looking at you directly, and that's like a mediumship, medical mediumship question that I would ask you to pay for. So I don't know what a UPI app is. Can you give me a specific example? Unless that is the app. Like Google Pay? Is that what GPay is? Okay. I will look into all of these things. I just like people like Cash App and this and that. I'm like, I just don't want to have 5,000 ways for people to pay me. I know that sounds really stupid because people are like, well, you're losing out on money, but I actually do pay my taxes. I have to send all of my paperwork to an accountant at the end of the year. And so like, I also have, I think, undiagnosed ADHD, and I forget things. Like I put things in places I'm certain are safe places and I'm going to find them, and then I can't find them. So I will look into that and then get over the anxiety that exists with taking on more things. So yeah. Okay. So I will look into Google Pay. Let me make a little note of that in my little iPad. So I was gonna say, when I'm connecting, I like some people like to call it Akashic records, and then some people will get sticklers about what they name things. Source is source. So that is all energy. That is your guides. That is my guides. That is the angels. That is like everything is all encompassing. That is you. That is me. We are all part of source, right? So it is the collective, all that is. Some people feel like it's better to have somebody outside of them, and source doesn't really care, right? What you decide to call it. I think that's why I've never really felt a need to have a name for my guides, because it's sort of this idea that if they don't really care, like I know their energy and that's really all that matters. Maybe that's why I forget names a lot, but I know like somebody's energy. Um, I gave you a reading about your son last year, about him reincarnating this year. Oh, yep. Yes, I do. Um, so, um, Regine, so when you're connecting, that's who you're connecting with, is your guides and the other person's guides. Sometimes they will delineate themselves, right? So sometimes, like, I will feel somebody's loved one, or I will feel a guide specifically. And it may be that comes through as a way to confirm for them because they've been working with, and that's what they've been connecting with specifically, because it helps our little human brain wrap around a very complex and expansive concept, right? I just want to write down Google Pay. There's a bug that just walked across my basement. Okay, I will look into that as an option. I feel okay. Regine says so. Regine has started doing readings, and primarily, I think she puts her stuff up. Well, I have Zelle, but I don't have Zelle for my business bank account, and I won't accept mixed payments into my private account because that creates issues with why I created an LLC, to sort of protect our personal assets should something happen. So I worked as a nurse, and I have family members that are attorneys, and I've sort of always had this mindset of like doing things the right way. Um, and you know, I don't know. I try to run my business in a very with integrity and everything else. So yeah, I don't do Zelle with my business account, and I don't mix my personal and business. So I'll figure something else out for people. I don't always know the worldwide stuff because again, that's a lot to know who can pay what, and there's so many countries and so many rules and regulations. But I will look up Google Pay. Hi, Katrina. Okay, so Zelle is easy. It's just I just don't have it connected to my business account. Because it's also Zelle's easy, but it's also not protective. So the reason why I chose PayPal, I know this is really going to get into more than you probably care about, but like PayPal protects you too. And again, moving my business with integrity means that I want to make sure that my clients and people who work with me feel safe. Everything that I do is based on energy and trust. You are trusting me to connect into your energy in a way that you may not let other people, right? And so I also want you to feel safe in spending your money and knowing that like I have this protection that protects me, that if they do something, then they don't get paid. Um, Meaning me. So I want it to be like a two-way street where I create a space that feels safe for you so that you feel safe to open up your energy. So I will look into Google Pay. There's more than just one reason, but Zelle doesn't do that. So that's why another reason I won't use Zelle for business, because it doesn't protect my customer or my client. Okay, so I will look into Google Pay and see that if it offers protections both ways, so that way my clients feel safe. Okay. So Regine, I just wanted to go back to the like when you're doing readings and you're always connecting in with a guide or whatever. When people say like, "Oh my God, how do you know that's not scary?" or Yeah, I'll pin the link. Give me a second. There you go. So when people say like, oh, you're connecting with something negative, like the most interesting thing to me is the only tricksters I've ever seen are humans. You cannot be tricked by some of the brain energy that's in, like, I know when there's a negative entity around me, and you can't be tricked by it. Like, you just can't be. I don't know any other way to say it other than you can't be. I think your beliefs create your reality. And so I suppose if you believe you can be, you can be. But I think the only tricksters out there are humans. Those are the only people I've seen be manipulative and disgusting. The only thing a negative entity can do is amplify the energy that's already there. So sadness, fear, anxiety, worry, things like that. Because worry can be different. There are fucking fruit flies in my house. Sorry. I put out fruit traps yesterday. There's so many of them. Like, and I'm like, why are you down here? Of all places. Sorry. So, so yeah, so you're never gonna, you're all kind of always in with your guides and like a higher source power. I think Akashic records and all of that, I think that's again just when we use words or ways of describing things, it's again just to get our brain to wrap around the enormity of the concept of all that is. And as much as we talk about, like, I believe time all happens at once, but that's also a very strange concept if you think about it, because we live in a very linear experience. Yeah. But here's the other thing, it's like to move, when you say I don't allow any dense energy, just any denseness to stay in your energy. I also find it fascinating in a way too, to like look at life with curiosity rather than move through fear. And that's my spiritual practice as well. Boy, that's interesting. Like, where does that fear come for somebody? Why do they believe that? And I've been that way, oddly enough, since I was a kid, where I'm like, I ponder things more. Since I was little, I always wanted to understand what this experience was, what God is, what's the secret to life, kind of thing. And not in a way of manipulative, but just to understand, right? Like not trying to game the system, just like curiosity. Okay, so let's look at you wanted to ask. I definitely see your ease and comfort with your readings. Like you're really starting to, by the way, when I peek in and watch, I don't always like enter the room, so to speak. I'm more a little bit of a voyeur because um, I don't want any of my energy to interfere. Like I want you to just read. Um, but I've seen you grow and become more confident and comfortable. And it's really, really cool to watch that, to watch you grow. Um, okay, so you want to know, what does the end of the year look like? I feel like Thanksgiving, around that time, you'll start actually having a boom in your sales. Um, and I don't know if it's numbers, but it feels like sales. And I want to say this because I think it's really important that people forget when you're like, I need to have 10,000 followers. Well, no, you don't. To like have a business or whatever, like that's not what grows your business, the number of people, because the number of people that have eyes on you aren't always the people that are purchasing from you. There's plenty of people who have very large followings and have no influence or no connection to their base, right? Okay, I will look into Google Pay and make sure that it supports, and that way people around the world have other options besides Elon, former Elon Musk. Um, um, Gabby, I got your payment. So I feel like there's going to be a big, like, it feels like not even just financial around Thanksgiving. It feels like there's a big boom in your confidence, in your spirit, and your energy. Oh, okay. Then I'll go on if you get happy when you see me. I just don't. I don't because I don't want to be like. I feel kind of like the mom. Like I don't want to be like the mom watching over the middle school dance. Like we're like, come on. So that's why I don't like always pop in because I don't want to. Like I don't want to. I want you to let you do your thing. So just keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely growing. Um, I want to say this too. Like sometimes, am I frozen? Am I still frozen? Okay, good. Okay, so I think I was saying hi, Starry Sky. I'm so excited to see you. What I was saying was that just in case you didn't hear me, I think it's better to grow slow rather than fast. Even then, when you get that really excited, like this is coming, I know this is coming, or I know this is like sort of lent for me. It doesn't mean that you're going to grow slow. I'm just saying that sometimes I think it's a little bit better. Like I've had this knowing of a bigger calling for a long time. I don't want to say calling because I feel like that's so related to Christianity and New Age weirdness, but like knowing that what I'm doing is going to have a bigger impact. Oh my gosh, like, but also like um you really impact people without like thinking it's on this big scale. Sometimes it's just better to grow slower, less growing pains. Um I don't know. So just be patient and enjoy the process as much as you can and know that it'll happen as it's supposed to unfold. Um RT, you said I predicted that you would have a baby born in October. Okay, I told you that I was seeing a pumpkin and he will be born in October. And you're due next month. Is that right? Are you still here? Because congratulations. I'm so excited for you. That's really beautiful. Um Wait, no. Yes. Yes, you're due next month. Yes, I told you that. Hi, Regine. Oh shoot. Okay. Hi, Nicola. I don't know if you're new here. Starry Sky, I saw it was so funny. I saw something with your face on it and I was like, oh, I haven't seen her in forever. Okay, so do you guys like this earlier time? Do you want me to do an earlier time from now on out? Um, I'm good with like starting my day this way. I can even do a little earlier on Sundays too. Okay, so Regine, I think it's just better to do a little bit of a slow growth, basically. Earlier is nice. Okay, yes for you. Okay, so we'll go earlier. That's fine. I can do earlier. I think it's probably good for anybody that's across the pond. Like on the people. I'll have to let Julia know because it's earlier in her day too. Um, so you're a silent watcher. Welcome. Don't be silent. We do listen. Um, so Regine, I see like bigger money in November, like around Thanksgiving time. And then like you'll continue to grow, but it just feels like this nice pop that really makes you like it gives you a boost in many ways. Um, so there's that. And it feels about the same through next month, like as it is right now. Um, Gabby, what's your question? You don't have to be a silent person. You can also get the free readings. And then Misty, I have you too. So Misty and Gabby. Gabby says, may I just have another guidance I need to hear today? Listen. So some of this is like, maybe I'm not, well, I'll say this. I always think mine's hormonal, but I get that. Okay, so, but also there's weird stuff with the eclipse. I also had this thing like a week and a half ago where I had the same feeling I had the night of the election. And the polls weren't even closed yet or anything. And I just felt like a weird energy shift, like I couldn't get my breath kind of feeling. And I know someone wants to call it a panic attack, but I don't have those. And it was definitely an energetic thing. And I was feeling that the other day. So I'm like a week and a half or so ago. And I'm sort of wondering what people were up to. It was before the Charlie Kirk thing. So it might have been a little longer than a week and a half ago. But it sort of makes me wonder what's happening behind the scenes energetically. Anyways, okay. I feel really tight in my right jaw, so I don't know if you're grinding more. And I feel that like tight, that anxiety feeling and not being able to breathe. I also feel like, this is a weird way to describe it, but like I'm floating, like I'm a balloon head, like I'm floating above myself. I don't feel like I'm really in my body. I have to say this. I feel like you just had a big hormonal dump. Like, I know you're expecting. What week are you in right now? Because I also felt like a drop, but I don't feel like you're far enough along for the drop. 23rd week. Is there a big hormonal dump that happens then? You can't see it, but there's a little fucking fruit fly here. Oh my God. So if I start clapping and slapping at things, don't think I'm crazy. There is this little bug here. I forgot to check this morning, but I do like the apple cider vinegar and soap, and it works really well in little jars. I'm not sure, but that's definitely how I feel. I felt good, and now I'm just blah. I just feel like it was like a hormonal dump. I really have to be honest about that. I also feel really tight here, and like I feel like the anxiety is more related to hormones and that like not feeling good rather than an illness or an issue like that. Um, do you know if it's a little girl? Did we talk about that? I also feel kind of sore in my back. Um, they're showing me like you'd benefit from rolling, like sitting on a yoga ball and kind of rocking your pelvis and your hips over a big yoga ball. It's a girl. Okay. um, I feel like she'll really like that motion too, the back and forth. And you might see her doing that a little bit when she's out, like as she's sitting up. She likes to, like, she'll enjoy even when she's little, like if you can sit her on her yoga ball and rock her back and forth like this. Not like this, side to side. um, this is so funny. I'm almost channeling her now. She likes bananas. So when you eat bananas, she really enjoys that. She's really happy. She really likes hearing your son, and she's gonna really like dogs a lot too. I feel like she's gonna have a ton of hair. So I don't know if she's actually born with it, but I just see a ton of hair. Yeah, Alf, I do. You've been eating a banana a day. Oh, okay. She likes them. She likes banana time. Do you shine a light on your belly? Because I feel like she's showing me she sees a little light, a little red light on her belly. It feels like a little light. Doesn't feel like a big flashlight. It's little. You do it all the time, and I play music. Yeah. She can hear your son's voice. She it's like that makes her excited when he's around. She's gonna have, I have to tell you, she's gonna have a really fun and sweet disposition, but also, I should say, and also, uh, at the same time, like, I don't want to say stubborn, but once she's made her mind up, like, you won't, like, if she gets mad, she'll hold a grudge a little bit. Um, or if she feels like she's been wronged. When does she do? I wonder if Libra is heavy in her chart. She's very much about justice. And I have to tell you, I keep seeing black hair, her with a lot of black hair. And that's funny because you don't have very dark hair. And I somehow keep seeing in your head like your son has like a maybe a dirty blonde or a light brown hair. And I keep seeing her with dark hair. Oh, you're welcome. January 18th is your due date. So maybe I mean, Libra's, that's way too far. We don't want a Libra baby, but maybe she's like a Libra rising rather. And so that might be why she has like a lot of justice rather than that. Or maybe even a Libra moon. I don't know. When would Libra moon be? Let's see. No, I don't know. I don't think a Libra moon. I don't even know how that works with your astrology chart. Oh, your son was born with black hair, because I keep seeing like I'm seeing her with black hair and a lot of it. It's so funny. She's big round eyes. She's very cute. It's funny. I feel like she's like a Snow White. She's very fair skin, black hair, dark hair. My Capricorn baby, who was born on January 12th, when she was born, they put her right on my chest, and she fell asleep, like curled up right here under my neck. She fell asleep right away, and the nurse was like, because since I had been a nurse, I knew to like stimulate the baby and dry them and stuff like. So I was always like, she fell asleep right away. And the nurse was like, "Is she?" And I was like, "Oh no, she's like totally sleeping." She's like, "Oh yeah, she is." Like she just was like clunk. She was so. You're so very welcome. Listen, thank her. Have you been thinking about like a G or a J name for her? It sounds weird, but I'm like June Grace or something like that. There's a G and a J names for her. Your husband has jet black hair with lots of gray. Oh, we were between Stevie after my dad or Mila. Okay, well, ignore my name thing because I'm not always great with names. I think it's funny that like I'm terrible at remembering names in real life. Like I have to like consciously like really make an effort and say it a million times and then just always profusely apologize because I've forgotten your name. But I know your face. I know, like I can put other things together. I'm really good at recognizing voices, which is interesting. Um, like I had a client show up to one of my in-person things, and I've read for her for years, but she was no longer like sitting in the place I'm normally used to seeing her, like on her couch, right? Because I do Zoom readings privately. Now she was in person when I was she came to one of the New York City Spiritualist Church message circles after a service, and I was like, oh, I didn't recognize. She's like, Anna, it's me, and I was like, oh, like I couldn't place her. And then when we sat in circle and it was a little bit dim and I could really hear her voice and wasn't like sort of, I was like, oh my God, I just couldn't even, I was so upset that I forgot. I felt so terrible for her that I just did not click. But I'm also like not in my right mind when I do these, to be quite honest. Okay. It changes every day. Okay. So, Misty, are you here? Do you want to ask your question? That was really cute. I love channeling babies. When I was pregnant, my kids all named themselves. And if you're like, that's crazy, but I knew my oldest daughter's name, like very early on. And my husband and I did not discuss names until after they were born because he never wanted to know if they were what they were, boys or girls. And I always wanted to know. So I always found out, just never told him. Um, I was always talking about her at work. And so, but then like when I was a stay-at-home mom, I wasn't talking about it with anybody. So it wasn't like as common. So it wasn't as easy to slip. A general question about your career change. What do you want to know about it? Um, I hope you have the best day. I hope you start to feel better. But like my oldest, I knew right away. And then like it was funny when my husband made the list, and he's like, "Well, I think this name would be more for like a blonde." That's why I think, and my daughters are blonde. Um, just funny, and then he tried to use the same list for my second. I was like, "No, you have to make a new list." And my second, I got her name very early in the pregnancy, and I was like, "I don't think Daddy likes those kind of names. Like, if you want that to be your name, you better figure a way to get it in his head." And so then when he made the second list, that name was on there. And I was like, yeah, I was like, that's the one. Oh, what's your best option? Okay. Do you want me, are you looking between a couple things or are you looking like, okay. Um, sorry, I'll tell you the third one about the third one in a minute. Best option. Where does she need to go? So I'm going to say it this way because I don't know exactly what I'm choosing between. So I'm just going to say it this way. I feel like the best option is to stay where you're at and move slowly through that change. So it's like working on a certificate, or it just feels like a smoother transition. Whereas if I make the jump now and I make this big drastic move, like say I quit my job and I go to this new company that's promising and it's the thing that I love, right? And I've been dreaming about it. I feel like I get there and it's like total fucking disaster. Like total and utter, nothing is what it seems. I was presented to me differently. It was like I was bamboozled. Whereas if I make this slower change that feels like it's not a very big change and feels like it's like not following that dream or not being brave and going to that, I feel like that's actually the better option. Um, RT, please don't do that. I don't want to put any of my, like, remember how I said that I do, I do stuff to make sure my clients are protected, and I feel like it's putting somebody in a really uncomfortable position. Um, so that's the feeling I get. It's like, so maybe you, hang on, is Ian, hang on, current is Ian is the top transition in you by fall of 2026. I don't think I understand what you wrote. I will look into Google Pay, okay? But stay for the free card reading because maybe whatever you're looking for will come out through that. You can pick which Oracle cards we use. Current plan is fully transitioned by 2026 of fall. I feel like that works. Like that feels like the slower transition just feels better to me. It feels like it's a better option all the way around. I'm not normally like, I'll tell you, I just feel like if I'm like, oh my God, so now I have like a reference of being like, oh my God, I'm going to go work at that salon that person says, and they promise this and that. And then you get there and it's a total shit show. Like, it feels disorganized. There's a lot of turnover with stylists there. It just feels like not who that person presents themselves to be and running the company. So it feels like it should be a slow transition. I also feel like you would be really, is your specialty coloring? 'Cause I feel like you'd be really good at that. Um, but I also see you have making like an Instagram presence or a skylight presence or something like that, where you're sort of like promoting what you do to bring in more clients. I just like that, keep that warning of like, just don't go to the person that seems like they're this amazing thing. Wait, I really want to say this. Please stop. I don't want to be like, RT. I'm going to look into the Google Pay. I'm going to send back Katrina's payment. I know this sounds really weird, but there's just a feeling in me that like that has to stop. And I don't know why. And I don't know why. I don't understand that. I don't know why, but it's like a feeling of like it has to stop. The patients has to, like, I know you really want one, but I almost feel like it's not supposed to happen today. And I don't want to be like there's people who will try to get book readings with me the same day, and I'll never do them that way. Like it's very rare that I will do them. I'll say not never. It's extremely rare that I'll do a same day reading. Um, and that's because I think that people don't necessarily receive the message well when it's supposed to be. I also believe you get the messages when you're supposed to receive them, right? When they're meant to come through. This sounds so weird because I know like there's that part of me that's such a people pleaser that's like, I don't want to upset people and I'm going to sound like an asshole saying this, but I'm not saying you should never pay for a reading for somebody else. It just feels like she's supposed to wait for some reason. But stay for a free card reading. And if that pushes my clients away and people are like, oh my God, I'm never going to read for her again because she said I can't pay for a reading for somebody else. I don't know. Let me see, Alf. And Starry Sky, I got yours. I don't know why these didn't come through in a normal way. Katrina, I got yours. And Alf, I got yours. I know you did. I have several reasons for making that decision, and I know that people won't necessarily agree with it. I don't necessarily. Yeah. Where are you located? Do you mind me asking, RT? Because I've had clients in India be able to pay me through PayPal. So I'm trying to figure out a lot of other countries. So like what country is it that doesn't allow it? Sorry, I don't know why I didn't ask there, Katrina. Sorry for your name. You're in India. Okay. So I know it's not a country thing. So I don't know because I've had clients from India be able to pay through PayPal. You're welcome, Misty. Okay. Okay. Katrina, do you want to ask your question? You can do two if you want, or I can just refund the one if you don't have to. And then Starry Sky. Okay. So I just asked, what do you need to know right now in the moment? And I don't think this is related to what just happened, but maybe I'm wrong. But I heard that you see the truth. So I almost feel like you've been questioning somebody in your life, whether or not this feels like a male, whether or not they're being honest with you. And I just keep, it's a feeling of you see the truth, but you're questioning whether or not, like you've been questioning your own intuition. It feels like it's a little murky to you. but you see the truth. And I feel like this is somebody who would be like a contemporary. So a brother, a partner, um, a coworker, somebody around your age. It doesn't feel like somebody much older, like a parent. But it's just this feeling of like maybe understanding that they've been manipulating you. Um, and they're sort of asking you to not question yourself so much. And it doesn't feel like there. It's not this idea of like, oh, now you need to go back and like, like, oh, I knew it. It's more of the idea of like learning to trust your own intuition and be okay with not okay with what they're doing, but not expecting them to be more than they're showing you that they're capable of being. I don't know if this makes any sense. It's sort of this idea too of like moving out of the space of being like, but like I would never be like that. So it's like trying to understand or comprehend that person's behaviors and actions because you can't understand that because you would never be like that to anybody. Um, it's not resonating. That's okay. It's a feeling of like there's this, it feels like a male person, a guy, where you're sort of questioning him being honest, questioning his truthfulness around things. I don't feel like it's cheating. So that's like the thing is like, I don't feel like, oh my God, and they're cheating on me. And I knew it. I'm just waiting for it. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like maybe not fully being truthful in order to manipulate some of your own emotional needs. So like maybe they whine about things a little bit more than it's like things are so terrible. Oh, woe is me to get your emotional pull when like it's probably not that bad. I mean, I'm seeing somebody younger, so I'm not. It might make more sense like during the work week where you're like, oh, like because maybe it's a coworker or whatever. But I just feel like your instincts are right about this. Um, I also feel like the idea of around it was like, does nobody else see it? They will, but I just also feel like sometimes not everybody can see things the way you do. Like, so I went into a women's circle group and like just saw things in the dynamics that were off and not right, and people were like, "Oh no, they're so wonderful," and watched the fallout of like several other people that were in this circle talk about how, like, even though initially they were like, this person is so wonderful and amazing, oh my god, changed my life, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, something's weird here. And then several other people be like, oh yeah, actually. So it's sort of this idea of like, even if you have that feeling other people are around that are going to say like, oh no, this poor person, you're going to be like, I don't think so, and you're going to feel like the a-hole for, but your instincts are right, and this is a manipulation tactic of this person. The feeling, okay, so I keep seeing somebody that's a little more clean cut and buttoned up, so I don't know if that helps to figure out the person when it happens. Like, yeah, clean cut and buttoned up is the way, like a side part hair. It's a guy. Do you want to ask another question, or what do you want to do? More specific, maybe? Starry Sky, are you here? Or Alf, if you want to ask your question, if Katrina's trying to figure out what she wants to do with that, that's fine too. You can ask it now if these other two don't jump in. I don't care. And then I guess we'll move to cards after that. And then I'm going to take my daughter. So we figured out she was having all this anxiety. Kind of all started after COVID. And we thought it was like sleep or whatever. And then I was like, maybe it's gluten, because gluten causes me to be anxious. And so like we started cutting out on it. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm not feeling anxious. So we're going to go shopping to buy her gluten-free stuff. Not because we can't eat the same things, but because she may want gluten-free donuts or something like that. That's like a little more fun than I'm like kind of boring. And then, yeah. Feeling in between energies. What is spirit trying to show you or tell you? Wait, let me clarify this. You're personally feeling like kind of between spaces, or you're actually outside of you feeling between them and trying to figure out? I know that's a weird way of questioning it, but like both are possible. Like inside yourself or outside? Both outside of yourself and inside yourself. I'm so confused. Alf, just really quick, because that's such a yes or no question. Yeah, that's a smart move. I absolutely feel like that's a smart move. Okay, the energy is so off. So it's kind of outside of you, but it makes it feel like it's inside of you. So on the outside perspective, I'm not one to say like that, like, I don't like this whole new earth or two split earths or all that weird stuff. Like that's just so fucking weird. It's also such a like an elitist type thing, like I'm better, the good ones get to go here and the bad ones go there. Like put me with the bad ones all the time. Like the bad ones. Kidding. Uh because remember, like I said, darker energies will never ever scare me the same way that humans do. Humans are capable of so much more disgusting, evil behavior than spirits. Like spirits are pretty straightforward. Like they don't pull any punches. They are who they appear to be. Um, Even the mimics, they're still who they appear to be. I don't know how to explain that. Um, okay. Okay. So the outside stuff. Sorry. I mean, things are weird right now, and a lot of that does have to do with like we are in a big time of shift, right? Where it's not that people are waking up, it's that they're no longer, okay, when you understand the game, you can't be tricked anymore. So it's not about waking up, it's just about, oh, now I see how they play the game. When you understand narcissistic abuse, and you if you've been through it and you start to understand it, like, oh, that's how I've been manipulated. And like I feel like they thought, oh, this whole we're going to make more money off of social media and everything else, and they were so blinded by the money and the power and the success, they couldn't see the shortcomings, and they didn't want to listen to the people about the shortcomings. And you cannot keep people like the larger the numbers, the bigger the game, the less control you have. And control always came because there weren't all the news sources or the ways of receiving information. There, this sounds so conspiracy stuff, so sorry, but like the masses have always been controlled by things like religion. And we do need, like, not religion per se, but like we need laws and rules again to control people. Why? Because like people are crazy sometimes. Like there's always going to be the one who wants control or just doesn't care, or the people who are just completely oblivious to those around them. Right? So that's why we have like rules to the road. That's why when the more dense populations get, the more traffic lights you need and the more stop signs you need. Um, the slower speeds you need in certain areas, like right, like those are all like control, but like understandable. Uh, when that control comes from a place of like safety, makes sense. When the control comes from a place of like greed and wanting to make more money and wanting to like other people, it doesn't make sense. And the bigger they make the game, the bigger they try to get, the less control they have and the more short-sighted they are in the long run. So thinking that, let's see, I'm just channeling a whole bunch of stuff right now, so bear with me. I don't even know what any of this is. Uh, there's things I want to say, and I'm like reticent, but like when big things are made public, they don't have the impact that they did or the control that they did, say, in 1963 that they do now, or they had more control in 63. And if you think about big things that happened in public in 1963 and equate them to potential current times, And of course, this is all for entertainment purposes only. People don't have the control of the narrative the way they did then because there's too many eyes and recordings and too many people that have so much access to be able to replay and replay and replay that they didn't have in, say, in 1963. So there's a short-sightedness when trying to control people in this narrative. Too many people are able to see more patterns. I'm sorry, this is so weird. This is not your question. So what you're feeling overwhelmed by is global shifts. I don't think people are shocked by what's going on. I think people finally see patterns. Back on October 7th, you know what day that was, not this year, 2 years ago. I was told like, oh, you'll never understand what's going on there. And it took me 5 minutes to look at it and go like, yep, I know exactly what's going on there. I know exactly who's to blame. No way that was a surprise. And no way that wasn't set up by somebody. And I think I've said that on here before. Like what's going on there is atrocity after atrocity after atrocity. It's not a religion based. It's, again, people who are in power, who want power, who thrive off power, money, greed, and controlling others. Usually comes from a place of being very tiny. And not like tiny, but just small energetically. So what a lot of your feeling is just all of the shifts that are happening where people are not, it's not waking up. It's just like understanding pattern recognition and not being duped anymore by different things. And I'm not speaking in terms of right and left because we've been propagandized for a very long time. So I think it's like people just going like, oh yeah, that doesn't really make sense. Like the more that I think about it, the more that I'm exposed to something like, it's like, oh, that's kind of funny. Whereas like before, maybe people were like, oh, okay, and like go about their day. I think that's what you're picking into, like outside of yourself, inside of yourself, like that feeling of, it's also sort of like growing pains and shifts of like you're changing as a person too. On many levels. So they're sort of talking about having made spiritual shifts and having also made like really big, like awarenesses of yourself and all of the unhealthy relationships you've participated in. You're not a bad person. You're such a good person. But like in ways where you maybe allowed yourself to be taken advantage of. Not intentionally. I just think because of your big heart and sort of becoming aware of like on a very close level, on a microscopic level versus macro on the world stage, but more on a micro level. The connections that you've had that maybe you thought people were one connection to you, and it turns out they weren't that at all. They were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. Meaning you're more shocked by what's going on. I wish I could say I was. I remember telling somebody a very long time ago, I think when I was in high school, we were talking about Mexico actually, because there used to like be a story around Mexico, like it's so dangerous. Oh my God, I should be careful. And like it can be, but also like I was like, but we're way more corrupt. We're just like, I guess, better at propaganda. So, but on the micro level, I just feel like you're really shifting. I don't know if that resonates at all, like shifting with kind of like maybe I'm not, don't have the relationships that I thought I did. I really don't ever like when people are like, oh, do you feel the weird energy? I'm like, not really. Like, I think I try not to, but it's like, I'm not really shocked by a lot of the stuff with the outside of the world because again, the humans will always be much scarier to me than any of the spiritual stuff I do or any of the entities I've ever connected with. Yeah. I just think, and it's not all of humans, right? I'm not like saying like, oh, they're all like this, but humans are capable of like so many more atrocious things in my mind than spirit is because spirit's always pretty straightforward and direct. I've never had a like even when you think of mimics, it's funny. I was like talking about mimics. That even when you think of them, like I don't know if you know what mimics are, where they like people will be like, "Oh, I heard my mom outside my door, like knocking, and I heard my mom's voice, but I really know like, but really my mom was like a sleeping, down there, whatever." It's like, well, one that could be astral traveling, but if it's a mimic, it's like, yeah, but they're still kind of like parrots. Like they're not really just. It's just that's just that. And I will say that as like scary as the world seems right now, or as like I heard a story where it's like they want to take away women's ability to have banking and all this stuff. It's like you sort of have to like move away from all the fear mongering crap. And like, yes, somebody may try to introduce that bill, but also no, it's not going anywhere. And we need to sort of be um, discerning about the information we decide to take in and allow us to allow our body to entertain that energy. Yeah, and the list is still open, but they're $12 a question if you're asking a personal question. I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Okay, so Alf, I did say I feel like it's a really you're not dying. Um, you're not dying. Uh, I don't see a bleed in the head. Um, I mean, I know that's like, but I know you said it in jest, but like, also there might be a real fear of that because just feeling so terrible. Um, you're welcome, Starry Sky. Hmm. I feel like maybe with the heart, I feel like maybe some palpitations or like I guess we'll call it a skipped beat here and there. But overall, no, I don't feel like you're. And I keep feeling like you can clear some of that extra testosterone over time. Let's look that up and see if that's possible. I mean, it can definitely cause anxiety. The other thing is like I think some people are more sensitive to hormonal shifts. Okay, Ange, I got it. I think that can happen. I think I read that. Let me see. It says increase red blood cells, not less. So, but I do feel like you'll be on the right track going to somebody else and getting a different assessment. Also, I guess what I would do, and this is not psychic, this is just sort of like where my mind would go, is if I had, like, when I understood estrogen dominance and then understood there are things that can help clear excess estrogen, I would start researching, is there something I can do or there to help clear excess testosterone? Like, are there foods you can eat? Like, I know eating carrots and a lot of fiber helps clear excess estrogen and find balance. So maybe look into that. Um, I'm not a doctor, but you said you're seeing a doctor, so that's super. That's what you should be doing. But I feel like that's the right way move to go. Ange, what's your question? And then I owe Katrina another question. What does next month look like? Okay. So I feel like actually next month is really good for you energetically speaking. I just feel like I got really excited and happy and um I don't know if this is like a typical thing. Like October is always a good month for you energetically. Um because I feel like August kind of it's not great for you. It feels like it was really a lot of like sadness or maybe just feeling blah, like somebody else said. I feel like October is really good for you. Um, what is your rising sign? Like renewed energy, it feels like to me. I asked that because um, I think your rising sign is kind of when you celebrate your own personal new year, right? Versus, I think my friend told me that because like whenever my rising sign is Aries, and I always feel like in the spring just much more energized versus like when people are like the new year or whatever, like I just feel like more of a, like an energetic shift then. So Virgo would make sense. Virgo is like the end of August into September. So it's like I felt kind of blah. And then I just feel like, okay, like I have this renewed sense of energy in October. I also feel like much more socializing in October. And I feel like communication is better just in general. So that can be communication and work, like it just feels like everything is firing and doing really really well, not getting fired, but like just everything like hits and does really well, easy clear communication, um, which allows for deals to be made and things to go well. It just feels like everything is going really well for you in October. It's just an ease of movement, and almost the idea of like the outside world is always is talking about like money not doing well or something like that, and yours is complete juxtaposition to that, like you're doing really well. So like this is an example. I don't know what you do, but it's like if you're a real estate agent, maybe everybody's like, oh, I can't sell a health. It's like nothing's going well. I can't close a deal. I can't close a deal. And you're like, weird, because I got 10 deals. Like it's this like everything is opposite for you. That's how it feels for me. You're welcome, Alf. You think it's been helping, also been trying to be more conscious of law of assumption. Yes. Can I tell y'all something? And I don't know if she's listening, but I had a client who she's one of my regulars, and she's actually my only client that comes to me like as regularly as she does. Um, but it was really interesting because she's going through this process of a big change in her life, and she's sort of now realizing that idea of our beliefs create our reality, right? And like these old belief systems of like, and then having it show up looking for validation outside of herself. And this woman is so incredible, like so incredible. So like the first time she came to me, I was like asking this, I was like, what do you mean? Like you're like, I am like, honestly, like I admire her so much. So it's very interesting to me. And she said something, I was like, I've been talking about law of assumption for a long time and our beliefs creating a reality and really looking into where that belief comes from. And it's usually like a lot of it's sometimes it comes from past lives, right? Or other lives, alternative lives. But oftentimes it comes from generational, like and it does come heavily from society too, especially when you look at like um, patriarchy and things like that and white supremacy. But a lot of it comes from who you're raised by and how you're raised. And it's like your family can love you, but not give you love in the way that lifts you up. And that can come from their own generational, cultural, all of that stuff. You think it's been helping? Okay. Our thoughts absolutely shape our reality. It gives me chills because it feels like a big shift, something that's always been there. Mm-hmm. I heard this quote. I have to tell you because I think this is like so interesting to me. Anyway, wait, let me go back to this other woman. Sorry, but it was like she was, and I've been saying it to her, and I was like, I know this makes you mad, and she feels safe to like get upset with me, which is fine. She's not abusive or anything. I want to like be really clear on that. She feels safe to get upset with me, and I know that it's like I'm never judging anybody but I know this so much to be true that that's why I talk about it a lot, like because it's made such a huge shift in my life. And your thoughts creating your reality and law of assumption does not mean everybody wants to be multimillionaires. Like, I mean, yes, the money is nice or whatever, but that's not everybody's end goal, or to be famous or to be like influential. Like some people just like want to have peace and, like, I don't know, be able to easily pay their bills. Like they're not looking for this grandiose type thing. Or I have zero interest in owning any things of status or bags or all the jewelry, and it's like zero interest. But there are people who like that's what they want to grow. They want to be that person that carries all of the designer bags and stuff. And I'm always like, that's a racket. like that's always the way I've been. It's never been of interest to me. Like I want to be surrounded by people of substance that care about things and um, make movements to make the world better. And I want to help people see how powerful and amazing and wonderful they are and love themselves, because that makes great changes. But because also it just fucking feels better to like yourself. And I want other people to feel that too. But so like everybody has different goals, right? And different things that they want to. And I have so many things that I've manifested that I think are so fabulous, but they involve people on a very dear and personal level. And so I don't want to put that story out there because that's, a little bit more private. But and maybe I'll tell you about them someday, but not yet. But she had this realization and I was like, yes. So sometimes we sit there and we think on a manifesting level, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. And I know that I planted that seed for her a long time ago, and now she sees it. And I'm like, it's never been about me thinking you weren't enough, or that you're never intended things in your life. But when you start to realize certain movements can be choice, then you start to realize that you're much more powerful. I watched your TikTok about vision, about getting pregnant and understanding vision from a different timeline. But that resonated with you. I don't know which one that was. Releasing. Oh, that one. Yeah. So there can be timeline things to it for sure. And there's also this idea of like not having enough, not being able to do things, not not feeding into other beliefs. So it's like, it's not that I'm clueless, right? But I think there's a way for me to use my, abilities and what I've learned to help others rather than perpetuate the harm that is in the world. So sorry, Ange. Okay, you're thinking of making a career things as I'm trying to move away from things on the right path, kind of thing. What does Spirit have to say about my guess? Wait, thinking of career things. I'm going to ask you to articulate that just a little bit differently. Um, Let me ask, are you trying to make changes in your career, like make complete career shifts? Can you just articulate that differently? Because you're very welcome, Katrina. Um, oh, I was going to say, while I'm waiting for Ange to clarify that a little bit for me. I say thing because thing can be everything. And I'm like, ooh, I could interpret that question wrong. And when you're doing readings, you're sort of asking 20 questions to the universe and they'll answer your, it's like connecting with, or I don't want to set anybody's stuff off, or, and when you connect with them, you have to ask the right question. You're not going to get the right answer, or you're going to get like a shortened answer. That's like, but if you ask it the right way, then you get like this really rich response, right? Where you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. So when you guys ask the question, if I have clarity about what that question is, then I can either manipulate it to get you the answer that you want. And I used to do this for my patients where I'd be like, here's what you want to know. Here's how you ask the questions so you get the answers that you actually want. And I would let like my patients, meaning their parents, so that they knew how to ask the questions to the doctors, because I knew they weren't going to get what they really wanted or what they needed. And it was sort of also educating them. And I believe you empower people more if you show them the tools and how to use them rather than just do the work for them. There was something I was going to tell you. I don't remember what. Shoot. We were talking about, there's this Neville Goddard quote that I saw, and it said this, and it really like made me realize how much I don't set big enough goals or imagine enough. And I'm going to read it to you. I have to find it. Okay. It said, you are only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of the imagination. I was like, oh, I've been really, really poor in imagination because I accepted so many things in my life of like, well, that's just the way it is. When I was poor as a kid, other kids had stuff, got to do activities, go on vacations, all of that stuff, or had food. But I sort of I didn't ever go, oh, why not me? Like I've never thought, why not me? Until I was older and I was like, why are they moving ahead quicker than I am? Like, why is it not my turn? That kind of thing. But I never, like with that kind of stuff, I never like questioned it. Or when my guides started talking to me, I never questioned it and thought this is weird or whatever. I was just sort of accepting. And I realized that like my imagination was limited in the idea of like, I would like to be abundant, but like I was never really, really specific until really recently. And I was like, oh, I got to get real specific and real. And that doesn't make me greedy. And that doesn't make me too picky. And like all of those ands of why it's acceptable for me to do that. Okay. Can I do another thing in terms of career? I'm thinking to move into better. Better what? So there's something about 6 weeks time making, I don't know if it's like you're starting a course or there's some kind of shift that happens in 6 weeks. That's the catalyst to the change in career. So I don't see you making a giant change in career. So there's a 6 weeks, a 3 months, and a 3 years. I feel like the big shift actually comes in 3 years, but there's something else that happens in 3 months from now too. Because I feel like whatever you're doing, you need some sort of, to make the shift, you still need some sort of like either certification or further education to allow you to do what you want to do, or mentorship or something. So even if you're like, I want to become a yoga instructor, you still need to have like the whatever 700 hours or something of training in order to do what you want to do. And then I feel like whatever it is you decide to go into, not only are you moving into that, you're also then going to specialize, which will bring you further education once you're in that career. So like say you decided to go to nursing, maybe you already have a bachelor's degree, but you need to get a bachelor's to RN and take the NCLEX. I think you could work as a graduate nurse before you take your NCLEX. That's what happened with me. But then say I also then want to specialize in nursing and say I want to become like a nurse anesthetist or something like that. So then I can work as, an RN while I'm going to school to become a nurse anesthetist or whatever. And I also feel like this career change that you make, you're really happy doing it. Does it mean it's perfect? No, nothing's ever perfect. Like no job is ever perfect. No workplace is ever perfect. Like it just doesn't happen that way. But I feel like you feel very proud of yourself once you make that move. And it's not that I feel like what you're doing now is not something to be proud of or not something to be like, can't talk about. But I just feel like it fulfills a hole within you. And it's not about being of service to others. It's just like getting that dopamine hit from what you're doing. Like it drives you, you're really interested in it. You really love it. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I feel like what you choose to do is different, very different. It doesn't feel like I'm going from being a CPA to, I don't know, a statistician. Like it's not numbers to numbers. It feels like quite different. Okay. Let's go to quick card readings for anybody who's here. If you guys want to do a quick oracle card reading, let's see. I'll give you an option for transparent oracle. I'm not going to give you all of them today, just because time and stuff. I need to get my daughter Huffy's Wisdom of the Oracle. Let's see. You guys like the messages from your angels? Inner child. Is there another deck that you remember that you like? I can pull. Okay. Does that resonate at all when I say that there's like, it's this education that has to come with it. It's not something. So remember the time frame: 6 weeks, 3 months, and then 3 years. So maybe you apply for a program in 6 weeks where you're like, this is the movement I want to go. I'm going to apply for the program. But then they started 3 months. And then I start my new career really in 3 years. So maybe or I'm like, feel like I'm really set in it. Or I can fully make that transition over to the new career and not need my old job and insurance and all of that stuff to get me through. Okay. Anybody want an oracle card reading? If you don't, speak now, forever hold your peace. They're free. Just out of the kindness of my heart. Oh, you choose the deck. Don't make me work. That's why they're free. I don't have to work too hard for them. So I've got just this transparent oracle deck. You want the Alf wants the inner child. So you got to pick your deck. I can pick other. I can pick, if you remember another deck I have, I can pick that too. I've got Animal Oracle. I've got another different angel deck. I've got Enchanted Map, Past Life, the Green Witch. I like this one. I've got a Crystal Oracle deck. I've got the Tea Leaf one. Okay, so we'll do Alf wants the, oops. Okay, Alf wants the inner child. This is for Alf. This Alf need for today to help him on his journey. Let it go. Let go of all that no longer serves you. And number 23, that might make sense to you or resonate for you. It is in our nature as humans to hold tightly to what is familiar, knowing the weight of measure of what we carry can bring us a great sense of comfort. Oftentimes, the known seems to be the wiser choice compared to the unknown. It is important to be aware that just as a tree shapes itself around a known obstacle that has forced it to take a new path, these things we hold tightly to can also change the course of our destiny. If you have pulled this card, then it might be time to reflect on what you need to release. Self-care, exercise, ask yourself if there is something keeping you back or forcing you to grow in a direction that might not be to your benefit. There can be many things that we hold on to for too long, such as the past, an ideal, a dream, or a painful memory. Even if we have gifted these aspects into our being, it is now time to let go of all that no longer serves you. Free the pent-up energy inside of you and imagine it leaving your body as you inhale and exhale deeply. Forgive disappointments and pains and do not allow bitterness in. Let go of control and allow what needs to die, so that you may blossom again once more. Responsive journaling prompt. How does it feel in your body to let go of what is no longer needed? Do you feel lighter when you think about letting go? How does your inner child feel when you think about letting go? All right, that was yours, Alf. Makes sense. Yeah. Nicola wants the transparent oracle. To figure out how to show these to you, I think, because I have to have like a background. I'll figure it out. I just need to find a solid color background for you to see it. All right, what does Nicola need for today? These cards are like really big. I can barely get my hands around them. And they're awkward because they're circular, but I like them. Okay. Let me see. Can you see this? See? 3 turtles. So maybe turtles will come as a sign for you. Let me see what it says about that. And if I should pull another to clarify it. What number is that? It's got a number on it. Sorry. 29. So your guide is the turtle. The keywords are longevity, support, protection, patience, strength, and endurance. When we think of a turtle, probably the first distinguishing characteristics that come to mind is its hard shell, so it's easy to see why this guide should be so intrinsically associated with the protective qualities. When delving deep into the emotional waters of human society and relationships, it is important for us to develop this protective shell, not to shut out the needs of others, but to be able to provide strength and support for those who need it without being swept away by muddied currents. Although the turtle is primarily an aquatic animal, she still lays her eggs on dry land, buried deep within the sand. And then she leaves her brood, trusting the protection of the earth and the instincts of the young ones, which always leads them directly to their ocean home at birth. Turtles have a long lifespan, and it also and is all turtle has a long lifespan and is also one of the most ancient creatures on Earth, remaining relatively unchanged since the days of the dinosaurs. As a reflection of this quality, many world creation myths feature turtle quite prominently, often carrying the world on its back. The Hindu myth of the world being carried on the back of four giant elephants, which, which in turn stand on the back of a giant turtle, has been has even been emulated in popular fiction by the author Terry Pratchett in his series of Discworld novels. As a guide, this means turtle has a great stabilizing influence on our lives, teaching us the qualities of patience and steadfastness and lending us protection from the turbulent waters which can sometimes threaten to overwhelm us. When combined with cards from the East, there may be a slowness to accept new ideas or ways of thinking. This is like if I combine and do a combined reading, which didn't do for you. That's it. So basically, do you want me to pull another one to clarify it? Let's see. Card has a great stabilizing influence on our lives. So it just feels more like, as much as the world feels a little crazy and unstabilized around you, this is telling you that you have stability around you. And not try not to worry so much and lean into the stability of it. Let's see if we pull another one to go with it. A clarifying card for her turtle. Let's see. This one is, so we can say what it's combined with. Okay, so it says here, I got the otter, which is a west card, and the turtle card is a west card. So it says, if it's combined with cards from its own direction, turtle may advise to take matters slowly and steadily in relationships. Okie doke. And the otter is just, I challenge anyone out there to watch otters play in the water and not to smile. Their inherent joy is contagious. Their antics often hilarious, yet should not be dismissed as shallow, for they form strong bonds and protect their own. In fact, the protective quality is one of the guide's essential attributes in Celtic lore. The otter was considered almost invulnerable, a quality believed to be held in its skin, which would sometimes be kept for good luck. In certain native tribes of North America, otter has a role as a mirthful trickster with strong connections to earth energies. This guide's ability to be at home in land or in the water means that it can teach us to adapt with apparent ease to any circumstances, making hard tasks seem easy and filling every moment with fun and enjoyment. Otter teaches us not to take ourselves too seriously, but to value time spent with friends and family and the shared joy of laughter. And it says, when it's combined with cards of its own direction, Otter teaches us to navigate through rough waters of our life with the protection of innocence and sheer joy in living. Okie dokie. That one's done. Go Katrina wants the tea leaf. Allie, you can have a transparent oracle card too. Here, I'll do that quick and then I'll pull out the tea leaf. You're welcome, Nicola. Where's my tea leaf? There's my tea leaf. Okay, so here, I'm going to do Allie's first just because I've got these cards out, and then I'll go to the tea leaf, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, Allie, what does Allie need for today? 2 cards. All right, I'm going to do these 2 cards. I'll tell you what they are in a minute. Let me show you. This is them over each other, outlined over each other, and this is one and the other, and I'll tell you what they are. This one has like people's faces on it. Can you see it? When I hold it up, I can't see it. So 77 and 1. Okay. The 1 is East. It's called Gateway Spring. Keywords: beginnings, joy, innocence, creativity, gateway, and growth. The season of spring is presented by a wreath of yellow flowers, the color associated with the East. There are daffodils for joy and primrose for beauty, forming a circular gateway through which we enter this direction. Spring is a time when life and light return to the land after the long, restful darkness of winter. When this card appears, in your reading, it shows the beginning of a new cycle, the first shoots of growth after a time of rest and waiting. New creative or business endeavors may start to blossom, and it is a good time to plant the seeds of plans for the future. It is a time of innocence and enjoyment, which can teach us appreciation for the beauty of nature and the gift of new life. If combined from cards, hang on, let me see, what's this one? 77 is... archetypes, the Magician. I think that's considered above. Let me see. Nope. Doesn't say. So let's see what the Magician says. Oh, it is within. So it says, if it's combined with cards from within, then a new and satisfying period of self-exploration may be about to begin. So the Magician the direction is within. Keywords are intelligence, eccentric, mysterious, shape-shifting, inventive, trickster. Planet is Mercury. The Magician is the wielder, not only of mystical forces, but of science, so advanced that it may appear as magic to others. Mythic versions of this archetype include Merlin, the fairy godmother from Cinderella, and Circe. In pop culture, we encounter the magician archetypes in features such as Gandalf, the Lord of the Rings, Jed from Ursula in Ursula Le Guin's Earthsea books, and Zuri in Black Panther. It's difficult to know exactly where you stand with the magician archetype, since they are always a few steps ahead on a path you might not even know exists yet. The magician has achieved mastery. Rock down, the list is closed. It was a long chain of flowers. Oh, hang on, I'll have to read that in just a second. All 7 directions. Okay, so the magician has achieved mastery of all 7 directions and thus exists in more dimensions at once. than would be considered normal. They therefore have an otherworldly air, and though they may sometimes seem distant, they are perceiving things on a deeper level. They keep their secrets and reveal only what is necessary at a time that suits them. They can be great initiators and, as such, can sometimes appear in challenging roles as well as supportive. If the magician appears in your reading, it may be encouraging you to take on this mantle yourself, or it may mean that this archetype is being embodied elsewhere in your life. What aspect of your life needs this to transform? What secret knowledge do you carry? How can you wield the power of change responsibly? The shadow of the magician is manipulation and cruel trickery. Look to other cards in your reading for more clarity or the aspect of your world the magician is working with it. Okay. So wait, hang on. You said you had a dream of flowers last night. What a coincidence. Yes. It was a long chain of flowers hanging right before I entered a cave in my dream. Oh, so it lines up. Oh, that does line up. That's very cool. I agree with that. That does line up for sure. Okay. And then tea leaves for who wanted tea leaves? Who wanted tea leaves? Oh, Katrina. Are you still here, Katrina? And then I need to go. Okay, great. You're very welcome, Allie. Okay. With the tea leaves, we usually pull a couple of them anyway, just because one doesn't usually make sense. What does Katrina need at this moment? I can't shuffle them because there's so many of them. What I'll do, I'm going to pull one from one half and one from the other half. See how we go about it. Okay, I got the hills for this half group. And I'll tell you what it says in just a second. It says obstacles to overcome. And then and then apple. Temptations will test you. So let me read from the books. Or book. Okay, hills. Obstacles to overcome. A series of hills rise in front of the querist. That's you. None of them are impossible to climb. They just make the terrain harder to traverse. These hills indicate problems that you will have to face. None of the problems are insurmountable, but they will make your life's journey more difficult. However, just as it is easier to see the surrounding landscape from the top of a hill, so too you will find it easier to view your life after solving these problems. I also got this feeling of like, and also you've trained for this, you've prepared for this, so it's nothing that you can't do. It's the idea of like, they get easier and easier to cross the more you've done because you build stamina, and that's the feeling I get. Also got apples from my family who went to apple picking. Oh, how interesting. And then the apples, how that fits in. I also feel like the feeling of just before I even read it is like you'll have sustenance along the way. You'll have things that feed you, that help you get through it, right? Energetic things that help like push you along instead of just feeling like, oh, the drudgery of another hill. So apple, temptation will test you. An apple hangs ripe and sweet from the bough of the tree, tempting passerby to pick it. Wrapped around the bough, all but hidden by the leaves, it's a snake guarding the apple. This symbol forewarns the querist to beware. You will be tempted to do something against your better judgment or something you know is wrong. You think that no one will know or find out. The snake is a warning that this will not be the case. So I don't know. I remember like a long time ago, this is what just came to mind was I worked at this clinic as a travel nurse, and there was a guy who worked at the desk, and he was like, I have a friend who works for, I think it was T-Mobile at the time. And he was like, I can get you a phone and all these minutes and stuff like that when you paid for minutes instead of like whatever, for like super cheap. And I was like, yeah, that seems too good to be true. Who's like, and he's like, well, he can put it on. And I was like, yeah, that just doesn't seem like, I was like, I don't really want that on my account, like knowing that I'm linked to that. So it's like one of those, like if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Anyways, all right. So I'm going to say adieu. I hope you guys have a fabulous remainder of your Sunday and a great week. And I will see you next week. And I'm probably going to start doing it this earlier time. Okay. Have a good one.